anytime I watch the Mad Max 2 The Road Warrior, and it gets to the part of the movie where Lord Humungus and his raiders appear, they go about taking the oil refinery all wrong, at least in my opinion anyways. So, this oil refinery has a front-facing ramshackle wall made out of scrap metal and tires. The entire outside, except for the front, has a deep ditch to trap any vehicles that get too close, as well as a barbed wire fence encompassing the compound within the ditched-off area. The only forms of offensive capabilities here are the greatly exposed crossbow and flamethrower positions up at the front. This leaves the rest to be defended by archers on the rear catwalks and those on foot. The defenses here are as bad as their morale, and I think Lord Humungus could have taken different steps and maneuvers to gain victory. And so, one thing that I gotta commend Lord Humungus for is, after the first day of raiding, he lets the people think that this is it, alright, we're going. He makes a show of it, they put their sirens on, they all leave in a big hurry, which then in the morning, that's when the outsiders to the oil refinery think it's safe to go, and then he ends up ambushing them and then gain some captives. And so, as a raider, you gotta think about the mindset of a raider. You want to take with the least amount of trouble possible. So in my mind, I'm thinking Lord Humungus did all these cruel acts or ordered his people to do all these things so that he could instill some fear into those remaining in the fortified area. So what he did was smart by grabbing a bunch of captives, but what he does with them is pretty dumb in my opinion. He slays them. He does it publicly, and he does it to instill fear. But that's one of the dumbest things you could do, is start killing your captives, because what it does is it tells your enemy there's no other option than fighting me to the bitter end, or you're dead. So he should have been diplomatic. He should have been like, hey, you know what? We'll let you live if you give us control of the refinery. Or, well, let me just think about it this way. Does anybody in his entire army even know in the slightest on how to operate an oil refinery? What are they going to do when they get it? They're just going to magically know how to refine oil? What if they worked out some protection pact? Like, okay, well, we're going to come back, and anytime we pass by, we're going to refill our vehicles, and in turn, it won't kill you. He has so much to bargain with. And I know how this all sounds. I am asking a raider to be diplomatic. It's just not gonna happen. So to put myself at least somewhat realistically into the boots of Lord Humungus, he obviously has something wrong with him. The guy's bulging at the seams. He must be roid raging crazy fucking hard, and it's affecting his brain, because he's got tactics. He obviously knows to attack from all directions and stuff. He's thinning out their he's stretching. What you want to do when you're attacking a fortified position is you want to stretch the defenders as thin as possible and attack as much of the wall as possible in a way where your troops are ideally not getting shot up by arrow towers and whatnot. But he does something really stupid when attacking the walls. He just launches bikers into it. That's a dumb idea. You lose a biker and you lose a bike and whatever fuel that's in it, because it's obviously so scarce that Max was willing to collect the gasoline from the car prior that was littered with blood. So if gasoline is as they need this refinery, that's clear. They're a bunch of muscle crazy bad boys who need gasoline, and that's a refinery. So they should have just blockaded the entrance. When that first sporadic sprawl to leave the compound when morning broke, everybody left through the one accessible entrance that's not ditched off. So block that. And now you could even do it with the force about as large as theirs, or you could even make your own personal fort out of your own cars just in front. And then you could sit there for, I don't know, days, weeks, and I'm sure after some time this oil refinery will start to be okay, you know what? Maybe if you let us leave, you can have the refinery. But that's the tricky thing, because they may set up a bomb to go boom when you get in and they're out. They may have cut their losses and decided that they'll blow you up in the process of potentially being able to escape. So, as a raider, you gotta kind of think about this. You need somebody there so that they don't just blow it up when you're in there. In the beginning, when Humungus got his captives, he should have used them as human shields to get as close to the wall as possible, make them hesitant to fire on you while you're firing on them. You're taking out as many as you can. Anytime they get to that flamethrower or that crossbow position, you gotta pepper them with arrows. And you gotta show this little compound that you have far more resources, because you have the entire wasteland to go and scavenge water from, get supplies. Meanwhile, they're trapped in a barbed off area with the fence. It's almost like they like close themselves in a jail cell for you. All you gotta do is not let them eat or drink. So that's how you do it in a way where there's the least loss of life on your side. You don't massacre your captives. That's a dumb thing. And when you massacre your captives, what that tells your enemy is that they need to fight to the bitter end, or there's nothing but death. You don't want to be fighting somebody who's going to be fighting with all their heart. You want to be fighting cowards. You want to be fighting people who just want to get out of that situation. And there's still some outsiders. It seems like there seems to be two different societies in there. There's the main guy, he's got his warriors and whatnot with the archers, and you got the outsider looking people. And so what if you tried to make them turn on each other? What if you're alright, outsiders, or maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, you do need people there, because you need to capture them to make them work the oil refinery. So the people there need to be alive, the originals. The outsiders are just extra mouths to feed at that moment. So what you should want to do maybe is I would say besiege, in a way that you're just camping out just out of range, but close enough to make them never want to leave. And then once they're starved off long enough, they're weakened, then you can either attack, or even they'll just say something like, okay, we will be tributized to you, we will give you X amount of barrels of gasoline every month or whatever if you let us live. It's just, you gotta be a little bit diplomatic as a raider. Otherwise, what happens when you kill everybody here? There's nobody left to work the refinery to give you more gasoline, and then gasoline forever. This guy could make an empire. People are gonna travel for miles and miles to get to this place that he owns. This whole entire area around this refinery could be turned into a sprawling city, similar to Bartertown, I'm assuming, or I'm guessing. It has that potential, but he squanders it with his poor tactics. And one thing that just absolutely baffles my mind, with the amount of people with their eyes fixated on this compound, that guy saw a rabbit out the corner of his eye and shot it. So how is it that nobody has been able to pinpoint that little kid's little holes that he keeps jumping out of? There's two of them. There's one near the camels, I believe, and then there's one where he ended up chopping that one guy in the head. If you found those areas, you could sneak in during the night. So while you're besieging, they should have picked up on the fact that this kid is getting in and out somewhere. You look him in the face when he hucks that boomerang in your boyfriend's head. He does a backflip and then he's gone, and nobody's asking questions. Come on, Humungus. That's where you're dropping the ball for me. Is come on, dude.